Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Deepika Mehto, and coming up in the next 1 hour. Chaos reigns supreme in Mozambique. Mass jailbreak leaves 33 dead. More than 1,500 prisoners escape as civil unrest grips the country. Death toll rises to at least 38 in Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash near Aktau, Kazakhstan. Japan Airlines hit by massive cyber attack, local and international flights severely impacted. Reflecting on global turning point in disaster management 20 years after the massive Indian Ocean tsunami. And in sports, India take on Australia in fourth Border Gavaskar Trophy Test. Australian debutant hits maiden 50 on opening day at the MCG. A very good morning to all our viewers watching DD India News Hour, and now let's begin with all the latest news updates. A prison riot in Mozambique's capital, Maputo, left 33 people dead and 15 injured as civil unrest linked to October's disputed election continues. Now, a day after violent protests and looting spread across Mozambique's capital, smoke billowed from destroyed buildings and charred and broken objects in shops and municipal buildings that remained as residents gathered in the streets. A decision on Monday by Mozambique's top court confirming long ruling party Frelimo's victory in the election sparked fresh nationwide protests by the opposition groups and their supporters who say the vote was rigged. The country's police general commander Bernardino Rafal blamed protests outside the prison for encouraging the riots inside the prison, while Justice Minister Helena Kida said that the unrest started inside the prison and were not linked with protests outside. Now, Rafal said about 1,534 people escaped from the prison in the incident, but 150 have now been recaptured.
What we expect after escape of 1,534 inmates who committed major crimes in the country is that in the next 40 or 48 hours, there will be dizzying increase in crime in Maputo. Increase of all types of crimes because they are specialists in all types of crimes. There will be an increase in robberies, assaults, rape of women, car theft, armed robberies, even kidnappings.
An Azerbaijan Airlines passenger jet crashed on Wednesday in western Kazakhstan after traveling far off the course, killing 38 of the 67 people on board. The Embraer 190 aircraft that was supposed to fly northwest from the Azerbaijani capital Baku to the city of Grozny in Chechnya in southern Russia instead flew across the Caspian Sea and went down near the city of Aktau in Kazakhstan. According to Azerbaijan Airlines, among all the 67 people on board, 62 were passengers and 5 were crew members. Kazakh media reports show that the passengers on board included 37 citizens from Azerbaijan, 16 from Russia, 6 from Kazakhstan and 3 from Kyrgyzstan. Azerbaijan Airlines has suspended all its flights from Baku to Russia's Chechnya region until an investigation into a fatal crash involving one of its planes is finished. The airline also held a press briefing at Baku airport on the crash, in which it assured psychological support for the kin of the victims.
A medical team and necessary medical equipment have been sent to Kazakhstan by air. A hotline has been established for the family members of the passengers on board, and the public has been informed about it. Psychological support will be provided to the family members of all the passengers regardless of their nationality, as well as to the injured passengers.
Meanwhile, Russia's emergency minister has sent a medical evacuation flight to Kazakhstan to bring back Russian nationals who survived the Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash. The ministry posted a short video showing the special medical evacuation flight being ready to depart Moscow for Akhtau. The IL-76 plane will carry a team of doctors and psychologists as well as essential medical equipment as per the ministry. Now, Japan Airlines on Thursday reported a cyber attack that caused delays to some domestic and international flights without offering further details. The attack began at 22:24 GMT and affected the company's internal and external systems. The company said it temporarily shut down a router that was causing system malfunctions and also suspended ticket sales for flights departing on Thursday. Japan Airlines spokesperson confirmed the attack but had no update on possible delays or cancellations at the moment. Japan Airlines, the country's second biggest airline after All Nippon Airways (ANA), is just the latest Japanese company to be hit by a cyber attack. In the year 2022, the Japanese government said a cyber attack was behind disruption at a Toyota supplier that forced the top-selling automaker to halt operations at domestic plants for a day. More recently, the popular Japanese video-sharing website Nico Nico suspended its services in the month of June because it was under a large-scale cyber attack, its operators confirmed. Earlier this week, American Airlines briefly grounded all the flights for an hour, disrupting travel for thousands on the eve of Christmas due to a technical glitch involving its network hardware. On to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia on Wednesday launched a major retaliatory airstrike targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure, leaving at least one dead while injuring 6 others. In response, Ukraine issued a nationwide air alert, with residents taking shelter in metro stations at Kyiv. Syed Absurul Hassan has filed this report. Take a look.
Russia on Wednesday launched a massive air strike on Ukraine's energy infrastructure in northeastern region. Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement that Ukraine's critical energy facilities that support the work of Kyiv's military-industrial complex was targeted. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia had attacked Ukraine's energy system and some cities with cruise and ballistic missiles plus drones. Ukrainian military launched a countrywide air alert in response to Russian cruise missile launches. Kyiv resident took shelter at metro station on Wednesday. Families with children and pets sat or slept on mats inside the metro in early hours of Christmas morning. In retaliation, Ukraine also hit back at Russia. A Ukrainian strike killed 4 people and injured 5 in the Russian town of Lagov in the Kursk region flanking Ukraine. Regional Governor Alexander Hinstein said on Telegram, as a result of barbaric shelling from the Ukrainian armed forces on peaceful Lagov, 3 people were killed and 1 more person died later in hospital. Russia has intensified its attack on the Ukrainian energy sector since spring 2024, damaging almost half of its generating capacity and causing hour-long blackouts throughout the country. The country's largest private energy company, DTEK, said its generating facilities were attacked during the strike, causing serious damages to power equipment. Syed Absurul Hassan for DD India.
Now, United States President Joe Biden has condemned Russia's retaliatory attack on Ukraine, ordering the U.S. Defense Department to accelerate weapon deliveries to Kyiv. In an official statement, Biden said the purpose of this attack was to cut off the Ukrainian people's access to heat and electricity during winter and to jeopardize the safety of its grid. Now, Russia accused NATO on Wednesday of transforming Moldova into a supply hub for Ukraine's military and advancing its infrastructure towards Russian borders. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova claimed most Moldovans oppose NATO membership, citing recent weapon transfers and the pro-Western stance of President Maya Sandu.
Along with the rearming of Moldova, efforts are being made to turn it literally into a logistics base for supplying the armed forces of Ukraine. That is what it is all about. It is not Moldovan citizens who need this, it is the West, the NATO members. Significant funding is allocated to NATO countries for the modernization of Moldova's military transport and logistic infrastructure.
Now, Russia confirmed on Wednesday that Australia had inquired about an Australian citizen potentially captured by Russian forces while fighting alongside Ukraine.
Yes, I can confirm that the Australian side has indeed contacted us on this issue, and the information about the detention and the detained Australian citizen is currently being verified. We are monitoring this situation together with the competent authorities. If there are facts that can be shared, we will definitely do so.
Time to take a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Up next, we get you the latest update on unrest in Syria. National menorah lit in Washington, kicking off Hanukkah celebrations with tradition and unity. And former Suriname President Daisy Boutours dies at 79, leaving controversial legacy behind.
Welcome to Jharkhand, the land of forests. Mesmerizing abundance of nature. Vast accumulation of natural resources. Rich legacy of contributing to India's economic foundations. Preserving a vast and diverse tribal culture. With diverse offerings, Jharkhand is a haven for various tourism activities, shaping India's future generations with quality education, a breeding ground for future sports persons. Come experience the sheer richness of nature and culture, diversity of tribal heritage, traditions and craft, and progressive development and growth.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now, updates from Israel, where families of hostages held by Hamas since October 7, 2023 held a silent sit-in protest in Tel Aviv to demand a hostage deal, but it was cut short due to a security alert. Protesters dressed in white sat down for a silent protest that was scheduled to last for 3 hours, concluding with a candle lighting ceremony to mark the first night of Hanukkah. However, the police dispersed the gathering ahead of the time due to security concerns. According to local media, a suspect was detained following a police search of the area before the protest. A group of relatives held a press conference in Tel Aviv to urge the Israeli government and international powers to secure a deal for the release of the hostages.
Unfortunately, we are marking the 446th day of our loved ones having suffering in Hamas tunnels. This is one of the longest, if not the longest, hostage crisis in the history of the modern Western world. This is unacceptable. It has to stop today. Let me be clear, the conditions for a deal were never better. Just yesterday, Israel's leading analyst reported that Israel's deterrence is at an all-time high. This is precisely why we, the families, believe we are at the strongest position ever to secure a deal.
Now, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said on Wednesday that Israel will retain security control of Gaza, including by the means of buffer zones and controlling posts. Now, Katz was speaking with commanders in southern Gaza. Israel and Hamas traded blame on Wednesday over their failure to conclude a ceasefire agreement despite progress reported by both the sides in past days. Hamas said that Israel had laid down further conditions, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused the group of going back on understandings already reached.
It is clear what we saw in the area of the penetrating tunnels, what we saw in the area of threats, while we saw the heroic war that eliminated these capabilities. How will we make sure it will not happen again? How will we ensure that security control will be in the hands of the IDF, which will be allowed to act everywhere to prevent threats? We will ensure here in Gaza, as with Lebanon, as with Syria, and in the East, that no more threats will be created against Israeli communities, citizens of the State of Israel, and IDF soldiers.
Israeli military vehicles made incursions on Wednesday into the area of separation between the Israel-occupied Golan Heights and Syria. Vehicles were seen driving in and out of the fence that separates the UN-patrolled demilitarized zone created after the 1973 Arab-Israeli War, an activity that has continued since the fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime. The United Nations Security Council last week extended a long-running peacekeeping mission in the Golan Heights for 6 months and expressed concerns that the military activities in the area could escalate tensions. Fourteen serious police officers were killed and 10 injured in a deadly ambush by forces loyal to the ousted Assad regime in Tartus. The attack marks escalations in violence just weeks after Bashar al-Assad's regime was overthrown. Syria's new interior minister vowed to crush any threats to national security, denouncing the attackers as remnants of the old regime. Meanwhile, unrest erupted in Homs, prompting an overnight curfew after demonstrations by Alawite and Shiite communities. Tensions have soared as minorities fear retaliation from the Sunni rebels now in power. Scattered protests also flared along the Alawite-dominant coast, highlighting deep divisions in post-Assad Syria as the new government struggles to assure safety and unity amidst the turmoil. The Pakistani military conducted airstrikes in neighbouring Afghanistan late on Tuesday night, targeting hideouts of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan armed group in Paktika province. Now, according to Afghan Defence Ministry, 46 civilians were killed in the airstrikes.
Pakistan airstrikes in the eastern border province of Afghanistan killed 46 people on Tuesday night. Taliban government spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid said that those killed were mostly women and children. He also said 6 more people were wounded, mostly children. The Afghan Defense Ministry's statement condemned the strikes, calling them barbaric and a clear aggression. Taliban has threatened retaliation, while local residents express anger against Pakistan.
Pakistan is a terrorist country. All these people who were killed were women, children and common people. None of them were Taliban.
I say to Pakistan, don't oppress us. Those who died were women, children and common people. They have killed our mothers and sisters. May God punish you with his wrath.
This is not the first time Pakistan has carried out such operations inside Afghan territory. In March, strikes by Pakistan's military in the border regions of Afghanistan had killed 8 civilians, prompting skirmishes on the frontier. Pakistan has repeatedly accused the Afghan government of harboring armed groups, especially the TTP, which it claims carries out cross-border attacks targeting Pakistani security forces. Last week, TTP fighters claimed responsibility for killing at least 16 Pakistani soldiers in South Waziristan in one of the deadliest recent attacks on security personnel. While the Afghan Taliban deny providing refuge to armed groups or allowing their territory to be used for cross-border attacks, Pakistan asserts that the TTP conducts its operations from Afghan sanctuaries. Bureau Report, TT India.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump nominated Miami-Dade County Commissioner Kevin Marino Cabrera to serve as the ambassador to Panama on Wednesday. While publishing a mid-morning Merry Christmas message on Truth Social on Wednesday, the 25th December. But what was interesting, that his message was followed by over 24 retweets of articles or other social media posts that backed his political positions on topics including Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth and his pursuit of Greenland and the Panama Canal. Later, Trump published a more lengthy Merry Christmas message that claimed Chinese soldiers were operating the Panama Canal and criticized Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Biden and the Democrats. Trump described Cabrera as a fierce fighter for America First principles, who he said has been instrumental in driving economic growth and fostering international partnerships. A powerful snowstorm has plunged the Balkans into chaos, leaving over 200,000 homes in Bosnia and Herzegovina without electricity for a second day. The storm, which struck on Christmas Eve, paralyzed northwestern and central Bosnia, cutting off access to towns and villages. Although snowfall subsided on Christmas Day, blocked roads continued to isolate communities, disrupting holiday celebrations. Neighbouring Croatia faced its own crisis, with emergency crews rescuing 48 people buried in deep snow in the central Lika region. In Slovenia, fierce winds and heavy snow prevented a rescue helicopter from reaching a stranded Hungarian hiker in the Alps. Meanwhile, 10,000 Serbian homes in the west also remained without power as the region battles nature's fury. On Christmas Day, Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupted with coal-like lava dazzling the spectators. The volcano, known for its activity, began erupting on Monday, and its alert level was later reduced from warning to watch, with the aviation color code dropping from red to orange. Now, Kilauea remains active, attracting attention with its lava flow. And now let's take a look at stories making news around the world. The national menorah was lit in Washington on Wednesday, marking the start of Hanukkah celebration. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas attended the 46th annual lighting ceremony, continuing a tradition started in 1979. Emergency workers rescued hundreds of skiers stranded on a broken chairlift in Les Develots, France on Tuesday. The issue was caused by an electrical failure, leaving several hundred people stuck. Helicopters and ropes were used to safely bring people down, with no injuries reported. In his Christmas message, King Charles thanked medics who cared for him and his daughter-in-law, Kate, after their cancer treatments this year. He also addressed global conflicts, summer riots in Britain, and praised communities for fostering unity amidst challenges. Former Suriname President Desi Boutours died on Tuesday at the age of 79. Boutours, who fled to avoid jail after being convicted for the murder of 15 political activists, dominated Suriname's politics for decades. Seven people, including a 9-year-old boy and a 49-year-old woman, were injured when a taxi jumped a sidewalk in New York City on Wednesday. The cab driver, who suffered a medical issue, crashed into pedestrians. Fortunately, none of the injuries were life-threatening. We are heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Fitness festival was organized in Udhampur to promote anti-drug, anti-pollution message. Prayagraj gears up to host the Grand Mahakumbh Mela 2025, which will take place from the 13th of January to the 26th of February 2025. An Indian writer, M.T. Vasudevan Nayyar, passes away at the age of 91.
Embark on a timeless journey. Unravel the mysteries of a grandiose era. A treasure trove of royal and sacred complexes, temples, shrines, pillared halls, mandapas, rock-cut memorials and more. A spectacular setting of rugged landscape and exemplary workmanship, representing the best of Dravidian architecture. Every structure carved out as a unique artistic creation. A heritage landmark that reflects pure magnificence, integrated within its natural environment. An unexplored haven for nature and adventure enthusiasts. An imposing heritage reflected in its street bazaars and annual festivals of music and culture. Come, be mesmerized by the glorious capital of the Vijayanagar Empire.
Goa, a wild nature paradise, where over a third of the state remains wild today, and every corner is full of surprises. Goa's forests evolve through the seasons. Insects and crocodiles flourish in the monsoon, butterflies in the months after the rains subside, and in the winter, the jungle transforms into a haven for birds. Oh, there's a female right next to him. Oh my God, is that 8 otters? That's one of my favorite things about these forests. There are still so many secrets out there. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. And now let's quickly recap top headlines of the hour. Chaos reigns supreme in Mozambique. Mass jailbreak leaves 33 dead. More than 1,500 prisoners escape as civil unrest grips the country. Death toll rises to at least 38 in Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash near Aktau, Kazakhstan. Japan Airlines hit by massive cyber attack. Local and international flights severely impacted. Reflecting on global turning point in disaster management 20 years after the massive Indian Ocean tsunami. And in sports, India currently takes on Australia in 4th Border Gavaskar Trophy Test. Australian debutant hits maiden 50 on opening day at the MCG. Well, it's been 2 decades since the 2004 tsunami struck on this day, when the world awoke to one of the deadliest natural disasters in modern history. An undersea earthquake in the Indian Ocean triggered gigantic waves of up to 30 meters in height, claiming over 300,000 lives, causing unimaginable destruction across the Indian Ocean.
It was a peaceful morning of December 26, the day just after Christmas. The mood was festive and people were enjoying their holidays at various beaches and idyllic locations of Asia and Southeast Asia. At 7:59 a.m. local time, however, off the coast of Sumatra, the clock struck hell. A 9.1 magnitude earthquake struck off Indonesia's Sumatra coast. The tremors caused by the quake unleashed 100 feet high tsunami waves with speeds of 800 kilometers per hour. The waves spread in all directions of the quake epicenter, wreaking havoc across several Asian coastal regions. Within 2 hours of the quake, killer waves reached India, Sri Lanka, Indonesia and Thailand. An hour later, Maldives, and 7 hours later hit Mauritius and the east coast of Africa. Effects were felt in North America and Antarctica as well. India was amongst the hardest hit regions, particularly the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The tsunami also caused considerable destructions along the coastline of Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, Kerala and Andhra Pradesh, basically the South Indian coastline. Yet, amidst devastation on its own shores, India extended assistance to neighbouring Asian countries which had suffered extensive damage from this natural disaster. It stood out as a beacon of relief to its neighbours. While grappling with the disaster, India swiftly launched an extraordinary relief effort. Within 12 hours, aircraft with relief material and naval ships and helicopters were dispatched, making India among the first responders in the region. The Indian Air Force played a crucial role, using IL-76 aircraft and helicopters for aerial supply drops and evacuations. The Indian Navy's 19 ships, 4 aircraft and 11 helicopters were first to take flight for rescue and aid work. The scale and speed of India's response drew global recognition. In the days that followed, 5 major operations unfolded simultaneously. While Operation Sea Wave and Operation Madad were focused on Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Tamil Nadu respectively, 3 other operations were launched to provide relief and evacuate survivors in Sri Lanka, Maldives and Indonesia. Operation Rainbow was launched in Sri Lanka, in which Indian naval ships delivered critical aid and relief material, while army field hospitals provided medical care on ground. Operation Castor was launched in Maldives, with relief sorties, restoration of power and water supplies, helping the island nation deal with the emergency. Operation Gambhir was launched in Indonesia. Warships INS Kokri and Nirupak delivered 40 tons of relief material. INS Nirupak was also converted into a floating hospital with an ICU and X-ray facilities to treat the injured citizens. India's relief mission went beyond immediate aid. Naval and Air Force teams repaired water supplies, cleared debris, and restored communication lines. In Sri Lanka, 7 naval ships equipped with integrated medical units provided relief alongside army field hospitals deployed to critical zones. For Maldives, Indian forces conducted 50 sorties and engaged 2 naval ships to bring essential supplies. Aid also reached Thailand and Indonesia, where Indian Navy hospital ships played a critical role in treating survivors. India also extended financial and material assistance to its Asian neighbors. $22 million was allocated for Sri Lanka, where teams repaired water supplies, roads and communication lines. $1 million was handed over to Maldives to restore essential services within days. $1 million for immediate aid was sanctioned for Indonesia, where Indian forces helped the worst hit regions. And $500,000 in kind was given to Thailand. Also in the wake of an earthquake which struck Indonesia island of Nias off Sumatra on March 28, 2005, India provided assistance of $2 million. Later, at the ASEAN meetings, India also proposed a comprehensive regional strategy for disaster management using space technology for early warnings. This led to the creation of Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System, ensuring preparedness for future calamities. Today, as coastal communities remain vigilant, the Indian Navy continues to play a central role in disaster relief across the Indian Ocean.
मैंने भारत की एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी की घोषणा की थी। पिछले एक दशक में इस नीति ने भारत और आसियान देशों के ऐतिहासिक संबंधों को नई ऊर्जा, दिशा और गति दी है।
Now 2 decades have passed, but the tsunami relief mission continues to be a strong testament to India's commitment to its neighbors, especially at the time of crisis. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India's Act East policy continues to strengthen disaster mitigation besides regional cooperation in various sectors, fostering resilience and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific. With Nancy Baloda and camera person Anand, Amit Mukherjee for DD India.
And to discuss more on this, I am joined by DD India correspondent Amit Mukherjee. Good morning, Amit. Now, when we talk about today, how is the world observing the 20th tsunami anniversary? Amit.
Well, Deepika, if you look at 2004, it was a big lesson for a lot of countries, including India. And India utilized that opportunity to secure itself in terms of future preparedness, because India has one of the longest coastlines, and whichever country has a coastline, it is kind of prone to a tsunami activity. So which is why India, it had kind of developed a multi-pronged strategy. At one level, it has deployed a lot of technological advancements, to take care of a system which is going to give an early warning in case of any sort of a, event like this, the tsunami which had happened in 2004. Also, the other thing is that India has been engaging a lot of community people, the coastal communities, in terms of preparedness as well as awareness, so that people are aware of exactly what kind of things happen, how this the environment responds in case there's a calamity like tsunami that happens. Now, technologically, we have kind of made a lot of advancements in terms of gauging, pre-gauging any kind of a seismic activity which actually triggers a tsunami. That has got multiple layers. In fact, right from measuring, pressures below the surface of the sea, the seabed, to kind of the tidal gauges, which actually measures any marginal rise in the water levels of the seas, to the seismic stations which are there across India. They are constantly monitoring every change that is taking place along the coastal belts in order to kind of ensure that people are well prepared in case of tsunami happens. Now, this Asian zone is a very, very seismic prone zone, and which is why a tsunami can happen any point in time. The other biggest advantage we have is the backup from ISRO. Now, ISRO has been launching satellites from time to time, and a lot of them have been utilized to kind of track geological changes on the surface of the earth. Now, India has been utilizing all these technologies plus the engagement of people. There have been active engagements of people to kind of make them aware of any kind of, this kind of tsunami activities, so as to minimize the loss. It's a sort of a mitigation strategy India has adopted. And beyond India, in fact, India has also been helping a lot of its neighbors, and we saw the kind of relief India had, sent out. And the response that we saw, even though India was hit very badly, it also went out to help all the Asian neighbors, including Indonesia, whether it's Thailand, Sri Lanka, Maldives, in terms of helping them to deal with the situation when the 2004 tsunami struck. Deepika?
And also, Amit, when we talk about it and considering the fact that 2 decades passed since the tsunami took place, and even when we look at it today, experts warn of more such conditions to emerge in future. Considering that, how do we look at the past 2 decades and the steps that the world has taken so far to mitigate climate change?
Well, mitigate climate change, climate change has been a key issue right now. In fact, if the experts are saying that the world is walking on thin ice right now in terms of, catastrophes which are expected to happen, right from looking at the forest fires which are, raging at different pockets of the world, to unprecedented drought situations, to the kind of floods which we have been seeing in the recent months. So the preparedness, aging right now, and a lot of things are dependent on the kind of technologies that we adopt in kind of gauging the environmental changes. Unless and until we deploy adequate technology, it's very, very difficult to gauge what is in store for us in future. And likewise, we have to act in order to ensure that the population remains unaffected, the losses are minimized, the kind of damage to property and livestock, anything is kind of minimized. So a lot of technological advancements are taking place, and India has been in the forefront, and it has also been collaborating with a lot of countries, including US, Canada, Australia, to ensure that these kind of risks from natural disasters are minimized to the maximum level possible. Deepika?
All right, thank you so much, Amit, for joining us and bringing us all the latest information on how the world is observing and taking steps towards mitigating climate change. Now, as we are moving towards the end of the month of December, North India is under a spell of cold wave conditions. India's national capital, New Delhi, in the wee hours on Thursday was under a thick layer of fog as residents made it through the morning traffic. The temperature was recorded at 9 degrees Celsius early on Thursday in the capital. The Indian Meteorological Department has predicted a further decrease in temperatures across Delhi NCR, Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan over the next 2 days. Now, this weather system is expected to contribute to cooler conditions in the plains. And the intense cold conditions continue in Jammu and Kashmir, with Srinagar recording minus 6.6 degrees Celsius on Wednesday. The sharp drop in temperatures caused water bodies across Kashmir to freeze, with a thin layer of ice forming on the lakes and the rivers, marking the peak of harsh winter season. Residents are struggling to cope with one of the harshest winters in recent memory. Authorities have urged the residents and tourists to take precautions against the extreme cold as freezing temperatures continue to affect daily lives across Kashmir. And to get us the latest, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Shabir Dar from Srinagar. Good morning, Shabir. What is the latest weather prediction by IMD for Kashmir? Shabir.
Good morning, Deepika. Yes, Kashmir, as you rightly said, is going through one of the harshest winters in the recent, memory. And the Met Department is only predicting that the severe winter will only, tighten its grip in the coming days, because we have seen that the previous night recorded minus 7.3 degree, which is much beyond the minimum, temperature, night temperature in this period of the winter. So we're already seeing that historical, record-breaking temperatures plummet during the night, and entire Kashmir turns into a big refrigerator, because everything freezes in night due to this, freezing temperature. Be the water supply to the homes, to the residents, or the water bodies like Dal Lake, Nagin Lake, and other important lakes in Kashmir. They have developed a thin layer of ice on their surface, so which obviously is one of the harshest winters, and people are coping up with this. They are facing a tough time. The water supplies to their homes is choked. Electricity supply is in crisis, because we have seen the deficit in the generation, hydroelectric generation due to less discharge of water in rivers because of the snowy conditions. So authorities are taking efforts to ensure that people are not facing a lot of problems this winter. The power generation is being, taken care of, and people are being given, advisories to ensure that people, if they go to the upper reaches where there is snow, they have to follow the advisories issued by the traffic department. And Met Department is also appealing people to follow the advisories so that no untoward incident happens, because we are seeing, on the eve of New Year and Christmas, people are thronging to tourist places like Gulmarg and Pahalgam. A lot of tourists are there. So it is mainly dry, less snow, but slippery roads due to the freezing temperature can be a problem if people are not following the advisories.
And also, Shabir, how is it impacting the daily lives there?
Yeah, as I already said that everything is freeze because water supply lines to people. People are facing the problem of water supply and electricity, and the power crisis has forced people to go back to the traditional heating arrangements, like we have the bukharis and the clay pot kangris we have, where the people use they can carry that below that kangri we say. So people are in a way resorting to the traditional way of heating arrangements, because electric supply and water, these two basic essential requirements in winter, because if you have water in the morning, you can easily have a shower. But if there is no electricity and no water, people obviously are facing a tough time.
Thank you so much, Shabir, for joining us and bringing us the latest. Please take care of yourself. Meanwhile, the Indian Weather Department has predicted cold wave conditions across several parts of north and central India with dense fog. Cold wave conditions are expected to continue in parts of Himachal Pradesh and Punjab, with ground frost forming in some areas of Himachal Pradesh. Residents are advised to take necessary precautions, as the fog will likely reduce visibility and affect travel in these regions. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in a program marking Veer Pal Divas at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi today. Observed on the 26th of December every year, the day honours the bravery of 4 sons of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Sikh Guru. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also launch Suposhit Gram Panchayat scheme that aims at improving the nutritional outcomes and well-being by strengthening implementation of nutrition-related services and by ensuring active community participation. Awardees of Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar will also attend the program. Now, preparations for the Mahakumbh Mela 2025 are in full swing at Prayagraj as the city gears up to host millions of pilgrims and visitors from across the globe. Special trains and bus services are being arranged to facilitate transportation for the convenience of the devotees. The grand event, renowned as one of the largest spiritual gatherings in the world, has promoted and prompted massive infrastructural upgrades and logistical arrangements to ensure a seamless experience for the attendees. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the country. Renowned writer and Gyanpith awardee and Padma Bhushan awardee M.T. Vasudevan Nair passed away at the age of 91. Vasudevan Nair, popularly known as MT, is regarded as one of the most successful writers of novels and screenplays in Malayalam. He also wrote essays, short stories, travelogues and even directed films. A fitness festival was organized in Jammu and Kashmir's Udhampur, aiming to spread awareness about the importance of a healthy lifestyle while advocating for anti-drug and anti-pollution initiatives. The event saw enthusiastic participation from locals, especially the youth, who joined various activities like marathons, yoga sessions and fitness challenges, emphasizing the need to adopt clean habits and sustainable living for a better future. Time to take a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. South Africa eyes WTC spot as they are all set to take on Pakistan at Centurion. Sri Lanka eyes third straight Australian Open title. And next up, mesmerizing visuals from the 15th Kankaria Carnival organized in Ahmedabad.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. Now let's take a look at all the news updates coming in from the world of business. Asia shares rose slightly in holiday-themed trade on Thursday, while the dollar was perched near a two-year high. As the year-end approaches, trading volumes have begun thinning out, and the main focus for investors remains that of the Federal Reserve's rate outlook. S&P 500 futures edged 0.02% higher, whereas Nasdaq futures advanced 0.13%. While world stocks looked set to end the year on a high with a second consecutive annual gain of more than 17%, and faced by escalating geopolitical tensions and various economic and political headwinds globally. You're watching DD India News Hour, and now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports. To begin with cricket first, and the latest update from Boxing Day Test. Debutant Sam Curran slammed 60 for Australia on the opening day of fourth Test against India at Melbourne Cricket Ground. Ravindra Jadeja has provided India with their first breakthrough as he dismissed Constas for LBW. Usman Khawaja and Marnus Labuschagne look set on the field as India is eyeing early wicket after lunch. At drinks break, Australia is at 138 for 1 as Khawaja scored his first 50 plus in this series. In the fourth Test of Border Gavaskar Trophy, India dropped number 3 Shubman Gill while adding all-rounder Washington Sundar in the playing 11. Meanwhile, the series is level at 1-1 with both the teams winning a game apiece before the third Test ended in a draw at Brisbane. In another Boxing Day clash, Pakistan will take on South Africa in the first Test of two-match series at Centurion on Thursday. South Africa will field debutant Corbin Bosch as the captain. Tembo Bavuma revealed the lineup on Tuesday. South Africa are chasing a victory that would guarantee them a place in next June's World Test Championship as they sit on the top of the standings after winning their last 5 tests. Fast bowler Khurram Shahzad was included in the Pakistan playing 11 for the first Test, who was sidelined due to a side injury. Shahzad joined the squad alongside Mohammad Abbas, marking his return to the Test squad for the first time since 2021. In tennis, world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka says she's fresh and ready to go in her bid for a third straight Australian Open title. The 26-year-old enjoyed a sensational 2024, reaching 7 finales and winning 4 titles, including the US Open. The Belarusian tennis star was named the WTA Player of the Year 2024, marking the first time she's received the prestigious honour. If Sabalenka wins again, she will become the first woman to claim 3 straight Melbourne Park singles title since Martina Hingis between 1997 and 1999. Moving on, the 15th Kankaria Carnival organized in Ahmedabad dazzled the visitors with its breathtaking light show, a true marvel of visual artistry. The week-long festival held at the iconic Kankaria Lake is a celebration of art, drawing thousands of visitors each year.
शुरू कुछ शुरू तो कर जहां भी है तू वहीं से यारा कोई गानी शुरू तो कर रग रग में जोश की बूंदे बूंदों में जीत ही गूंजे इस गूंज से गिर जाएगा आसमान भी कदमों में चला 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 अब रुकेंगे ना कल मिटा चला कल मिटा चला अब झुकेंगे ना मैं लड़ जाना मैं
And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour this morning. Namaskar.